What is it?
Hello, welcome to The Essential Gamer. You're watching What Is It with me, Lee, and what it is King of Seas, not Sea of Thieves, than it may sound like, although it is very similar, a pirate adventuring game. Yes, look at this, see? Take a gander, look with wonder at the amazing pirate adventure on show here. So yeah, different. Very different. So this is released by Team 17. It was developed by 3D Clouds, and it is a isometric view pirating adventure where you are seafaring and the like and such. R and other gym lads. R. It's different. It's a different take on seafaring and pirating and RPGing and stuff like that. I'm going to get into the details. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the game. That will probably make a bit of sense, so let's start at the beginning. And at the beginning, you pick your difficulty for the story. It is a story-based game, although it has got a open world element to it, and there's a lot of freedom. There is also a very loose storyline at play. So as I say, start at the beginning, choose a difficulty, choose one of two available characters. Doesn't really make a difference who you pick, it's more just who you would rather have as an avatar to represent you, and then you go off into the open world to play out a story in what are some generally nice environments. It all looks very pretty. Obviously it's designed for the isometric view, but even when you do get close to some of the settlements and the sort of designed towns and cities that you'll be docking at, they look decent. Everything looks nice, very pretty, very pleasant to the eyeball, cartoony-esque graphical style, which I am not against. I'm not offended by in any way, which is good, because if I'm offended by it, I generally don't like it. One thing I will say about it is that you are stuck to the isometric view, and I wish every so often you could spin the camera around or just generally have a look at the environments that you're visiting. Not that you're going to get out the ship and run around or anything like that. You are very much based on your ship. It would be nice just to get a different view of things from time to time, but generally the game likes to give you some close-up views, gives you some bits of dialogue and stuff like that, so you do get to feel the world that you're supposedly existing in. As far as world building, there's a few characters in that you talk to on your ship, and you meet along the way. Basically, it's a story of riches to rags, getting your honour back, valour, pirate R, all that sort of stuff. So say you'll be docking at towns, going to different parts of the world, and this is where basically the sort of RPG elements come into the game. So you dock up, you can go to the carpenter, you can buy new boats, you can buy upgrades to your current vessel, you can buy weapons, you can buy pieces that add certain buffs to your ship, you can hire new crew, all the sort of stuff that you'd expect of a pirate captain happens in the towns and the cities that you dock at. And this sort of becomes part of the cycle. So you go out to sea, you go and do your stuff, you do your land, your anti-land lubbering, and I'm trying to think of all the pirate terminology I can. Not very much. R, I say. And then you travel the world, you go back to these towns and cities, you dock, you sell the stuff you find, or you buy more stuff that you need, you buy better equipment, better weapons, better upgrades, go back out into the world, go pirating, so on and so forth. The world itself, as I've mentioned, is very pleasant, with some nice dynamic rain and dynamic events that happen as you're boating around, and it makes for a nice playground. As I say, dynamic stuff, but a fixed camera. So at times you're gonna make mistakes. Just a couple here and there, but you're gonna make them. After you get used to the sort of the camera limitations and everything else, it's a perfectly pleasant game to play. I wouldn't say it is massively difficult, but there is a learning curve for certain. There's lots of things you can do to help yourself along the way. One of the things you can do is visit cartographers who will draw out the map for you of the game world. The world itself is fairly big. to traverse. It's not huge by any means, but you are travelling around on wind power, so it's not necessarily you fast travelling from one side of the map to the other, which is good. And to be honest, that is the main sort of crux of the game. It's the seafaring. You can look at the knots in the top right corner to see which way the sails are going. You have to tend your ship. You have to find things out in the world. You'll find loot. You'll find different crashed boats, sunken ships to go and loot and find things off. You'll find survivors and all sorts of other stuff, as well as environmental dangers out in the world. What's been put together is a satisfying boat-based pirate adventure. Now, I know there's been a few games, like Sea of Thieves is obviously the big one, where you can get off and you go do your land-lubbering adventuring, but it's quite nice to have it brought back to being real simple. Now, although it is simple, the actual sea battles can be quite difficult and are the most exciting part of the game. Naturally, firing cannonballs at anything is generally exciting, but there's something about being in your pirate sloop, taking on, like a crown frigate or tourist ship or treasure ship, and trying to, outwit and outbattle this, hail the main brace and all that sort of stuff. Hard to port and other stuff. You wouldn't think that I live in a dock town, would you? I should know about boats. I know what a spinnaker sail is. That's about it. I couldn't sail my way out of a bathtub. Really couldn't. Anyway, the battles themselves are all based on levels, so you'll go up against different level boats. Your boat is of a certain level. You can add sort of pirate themed mythical powers as a sort of once-off special maneuver for each ship, but generally you're just firing cannons at each other, so you can upgrade your cannons, upgrade your ammo, that sort of thing. You can even ram them. Ramming speed is a thing. It's not very effective, but it is fun. And you do feel a bit of a Blackbeard once you manage to take out a ship or two. You're going to die a lot because, what's the point of levelling up if you start off overpowered? But generally speaking, I really enjoyed the fights against the different boats. The AI can be a little bit funny sometimes, but it actually manages to add some comedy to the moments, and there's a little bit of depth as far as the RPG elements go. There's things like, it's almost like a materia counter. It's called talents, and you can add these buffs to your ship, and they add to the sort of mythological side, they add to the weaponry side, and they add to the ship itself, making you go faster, turn faster, have more effect into headwinds, and all of these sort of things, and they will all come together to really boost your ship as you progress through the story. No. So King of Seas is a fairly pleasant pirate adventure. I'm not going to go out and say it's the most sort of, groundbreaking of all of the piratey boat games, but I really enjoyed it. It's really simple. It's got a real basic premise that is handed to you well. It looks good. I'm a big fan of the aesthetics. I like the daylight, the day-night cycle. I like the way that everything looks. Everything feels great. The sound effects are really relaxing, even though there's not much music. The dramatic and sort of situational, environmental music does kick in when needed, and it adds some rip-roaring gym lad adventure to the pirating. If you like pirate games, if you like a bit of sea battle, go and get King of Seas. Have a go at it. If you liked Sea of Thieves, but you thought it was a bit too 3D, isometric Sea of Thieves, right here for you to enjoy. As always, if this video has been any good to you, please do like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us to boost us in the algorithms against evil YouTube. If you didn't like it, tell me why in the comments. I will ride my vessel alongside yours, board your ship, and plunder your booty. How's that? Alright, nice one.